Do you discuss how much the apps are paying you with your passengers? Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. With Tonquin, you're going to deliver car parts and not people. And the Daily Drive is brought to you by Rideshare.tax. With Rideshare.tax, you can get your tax problems solved today. And the Daily Drive is brought to you by Voom Rideshare Insurance. Hi. Okay, so like I said, I just, on Sunday, had a really bad rideshare experience. And to be honest with you, I've had a lot of bad rideshare experiences. And not me as the driver, but me as the rider. All right, long story short, when I was a business traveler, I used Uber all the time, and I had a corporate card connected to my Uber account. So now I can't order Ubers for whatever reason. So I can only order Lyft. And I like Lyft. Lyft is fine. But when I order a Lyft, the quality of the cars haven't been that great. The driver's been fine and that kind of stuff. So on Sunday of this week, I got a flat tire. So I dropped my car off at the tire repair shop, and my insurance company gave me $30 to order an Uber back home. It's about a 30-minute trip from the tire repair place back home. And I live out in the country, so there's no Ubers or Lyfts out that way. So I go online, I order a Lyft. It takes like 10 minutes for me to get a driver to show up. And the car that shows up is a really beaten down car. It wasn't, the muffler was rattling. Tick, 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 tick. And I get in, and the car was really dirty on the inside. And the driver immediately asked me, hey, where are we going? And I told him Cazenovia, because I live, in Cazenovia. And he's like, well, how much did you pay for this trip? And all I could think of was like, wait, why are you asking me this? And now I know why he's asking me this, but it's still awkward. And I'd paid $36 for the ride, but 30 of it was voucher and 6 was mine. And I know he wanted to cancel the ride and do a cash. But it was just awkward. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not going to negotiate with you. Just, are you going to take me? And he said, no, I want to cancel. So he canceled. I had to get out, and another driver took another 10 plus minutes to match up with me. And the next driver on his way to me says, hey, I need to go get gas. Okay, fair enough. So he goes to get gas, but I was like, okay, it's a nicer car. It was like a BMW. And so I was like, oh, let's take a look at this experience. And it wasn't the greatest BMW, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horribly dirty on the inside, but it was pretty worn down. But when I got in there, 3 things kind of stood out to me. Number 1, the tire light was on. Number 2, the check engine light, oil pressure light was on. Third thing was he had like a YouTube thing playing, and it was all in Arabic, I think. It was very distracting. It was loud. And I guess I could have asked him to turn it down, but I'm just trying to be a nice guy. I didn't really worry myself too much about it. But on that trip, he also talked to me about money. He's like, well, I'm only getting paid $16 for this trip, and that's really far out. It's like he was hinting that he wanted me to give him more money. And I understand it. Uber and Lyft screw drivers over to some extent. And I say to some extent because he took the ride. It's not like I forced him to do it. And it puts me, the passenger, in a very awkward kind of position. I love and I support my fellow drivers, but this was just not right. It just seemed so weird. And the final thing was this. When we dropped him off at my house, he drove away and he didn't hit stop on the ride. Now, I know there's some people that think if they keep the ride going, they're going to make more money or whatever. After like 10 minutes, I had to contact him and say, hey, you have to end the ride. And I think it was a real accident. He got another Uber because, again, I ordered Lyft and he got an Uber. And so I think he just went back to pick up the Uber passenger and forgot to cancel or turn the Lyft app off or cancel or end the ride. I did give him a $20 cash tip because I love my fellow drivers. I really do. But drivers, hey, listen, I completely support you being an independent contractor. That's what I want to be. I completely support you starting your own business and getting cash rides. I don't think you should be doing it without the right insurance, but that's between you and God, and I don't really care. But I tell you what, though, it's the first time I meet you, the last thing I want to do is talk to you about money as a passenger. I just want to get home. And I think we drivers get so caught up in our world that we think the passengers know the same experience that we're having, and they don't. Passengers literally just go into an app, prepay for a ride, and they just want to get to their next destination. The ride itself is not the experience. It's the destination where they want to go. I just wanted to get home. And it took 20 extra minutes because the driver that canceled, right? That really sucked. And then on top of it, it was like I was negotiating the first ride for sure, and then the second ride, it was just awkward, and I could see how other passengers would feel uncomfortable. So my words of encouragement to you are this: if you want to start your own business and you want to do off-app rides, don't do it that way. There are some rideshare driver YouTube channels that tell you to do this. I don't think they meant to do it the way you were doing it, though. I think if you want to do a cash ride, there's probably nicer ways to do it. I really don't know how to do it because I don't do cash rides. But you can't make every ride with your passenger like that a negotiation. And it just seems really crappy. Now, it's easy to say I'm going to blame the apps or the drivers, but I'm going to blame the apps. The reason why drivers are doing this, Uber and Lyft, the reason why they're doing this is because you're not paying enough of the fare. That's it. If I paid $36, and let's suppose the driver that I did get in, he actually only got $16 to go almost 15 miles out in the middle of the country, and he's got a deadhead all the way back. I mean, it's not right. And so I understand why drivers are kind of scratching and clawing and trying to find ways to make a good living, because the apps are cutting the fares too much. I just don't think the onus is on the passenger to solve this. And I think when drivers proposition passengers, because we're doing it all day, every day, our world of rideshare, we kind of get caught up in that. We don't think about the passenger experience. And all I encourage you to do, if you're a driver and you want to do cash rides, maybe what you do is that ride, you do it on the app, but you give them a business card or something like that and say, hey, if you ever need another ride, I'd love to be your driver. And I'm sure in the long run you can build a business. But I promise you, you're not going to build a private ride business in the cars that I rode in. Why would I want a private driver where I think the car is going to break down? There's some semblance of reliability that I want. So my advice to drivers is have a reliable car, and definitely get some business cards printed and do it after the trip if you're going to do a cash ride. I don't know. If you do cash rides, maybe there's a better way to do it. I don't know. It just seemed really kind of crappy. And it made the whole ride awkward because the driver was complaining about the money he was making. And it's not my fault. It's not my problem as the passenger. If you don't like the money that you're making, don't put that on me as the passenger. It just made it really awkward. And apps pay drivers more. You're going to get crappier and crappier drivers with crappy and crappier cars, and they're going to try to do all these rides off app because you're not paying the drivers enough on a lot of these fares. So there you go. What do you think? Am I overreading into it? I don't know. Do you think it's cool to Maybe not cool. That sounds very 80s, doesn't it? I'm pretty old. I'm an old man. But do you think it's good to like proposition passengers when they've already paid for a ride to like not to cancel and do some sort of finagling? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Please be safe, be well, and know that I'm cheering for you. Bye.